Hello, my lovey. Welcome back to the podcast. Let's talk about when your students exhibit neurodivergent traits. Maybe they have a diagnosis, maybe not. How, what, why? How do you handle it? Well, let's go into the mindset aspect first, and then I'll give you some practical tips just exactly about that. So, some of the ways that you can help your students, obviously, you've got making sure that the structured routine is the same, having clear expectations, establish these daily consistent schedules and transitions. Sometimes for us neurodivergent folks, transitions are the stuff of nightmares. And use visual schedules, checklists, agendas. Let there be another sense other than audio that you're imparting the information and the structure. And explicitly, let's teach the classroom rules and procedures. And that's the tough part, reinforcing, consistently reinforcing those rules. And you can use a combination to adopt a more multi-sensory instructional approach. Okay, you can combine visual, combine audio, and then don't forget the kinesthetic tactile modalities. Can they feel, touch it? Can they move their body while they're learning it? And technology is a hot button issue, but leverage the technology that you have in order to bring them into the lesson, into the knowledge that you're sharing. And you have to keep flexible. And that is really, really tough because there are so many students. And whether someone is, on a diagnosis of neurodivergence, what ADHD, depression, on this autistic spectrum, like there are so many different ways that behaviors can present and you're struggling. Are they being obnoxious? Are they trying your patience? Are they, why would anyone act like this? Trust me. Take it from someone who acted in terrible ways as a student. I didn't want to be acting like that. It was hard. Being in school was difficult for me. Sitting in a desk, not talking, not moving. Not moving, I think, was just the worst. So I mentioned multisensory approaches. Like, let's let the students demonstrate learning in different ways: verbal, written, visual. And can you provide extra time? Maybe there needs to be a break. I had some educators at a high school I went to, and they would, when they see us gloss over, they would say pounce. And we all had to like touch the floor like a cat. And granted, this was in a performing arts high school, but is there something you can do? A drum roll, please. And all the kids get to tap on their desk or something just to keep the body moving. That is, oh gosh. And keep in mind, mindset wise, they don't want to behave like that. They want to behave in a way that garners them respect and not labeled a weirdo. So let's see. Also, of course, just like in corporations, people talk about corporate culture all the time, but let's talk about classroom culture. How do you identify and build upon each student's unique talents or their abilities? How do you celebrate progress and effort, not just the end results? And let's also promote that atmosphere of empathy, acceptance, community. It's important. Kindness is important. And if people are struggling with executive functioning skills, give them explicit instructions. Break it down into manageable steps. Break that down into micro steps. Model organizational strategies and teach the students, what do you do to keep things moving? And offer some support, the little bit of architecture, and some guided practice for how to keep things organized, how to keep tasks moving. Is it a list? Is it a timer? Timers are amazingly effective for me today. It really helps me manage my ADHD. And obviously, I know that every moment is stressed and stretched, but if you can collaborate with families and support staff, Are there any specialists involved, occupational therapists, special educators, and try to have the classroom practices align with those individualized education plans, the IEPs. And again, patience, empathy, and a growth mindset. Like, all students learn and progress at their own pace. It can be confusing if you have a gifted student who seems so remarkable and mature in some areas, academic areas or interpersonal areas, and then they're just a complete wreck in another one. I couldn't read social cues. I had no idea. I'm horrified looking back at the people I made uncomfortable, the people I didn't understand what they were trying to tell me. I felt like they were speaking another language. So I would have begged my teachers to avoid assuming and judging, what I'm doing, how I'm saying it, whether I understand. I got a lot of, well, of course you understand that. I didn't. If it had to do with executive functioning, no. Could I do high level math and all the things? Sure. But that doesn't mean that my other skills were up to snuff like that. And of course, all of this, it goes back to what, of course, you want. You want to consistently engage your students. You want to believe in their potential. You want to help them, um, pull it together. So let's get into I think I might have switched it, but here's some mindset practices that can help you when you're working with a student or students who exhibit neurodivergent traits. You know, let's talk about a strength-based perspective. Gorgeous. Put your focus off of the deficits onto the student's gifts, talents, abilities. What if there are areas where the students excel? Oh, let's leverage those strengths and verbally tie them to other things that they can do. As you did, blah, blah, blah. What if you put that strategy here? What do you think? And celebrate progress. It could look very different from the kids who are managing socially well and don't exhibit neurodivergent traits, but progress is progress, and celebrations feel good. That's why Candy Crush makes so much money. You get these little dopamine hits when you're praised, when you do the thing. It feels good. And so feeding that part of brain activity and using dopamine to your advantage, gamify things, right? And then, on to practicing patience and flexibility. Now, I struggle with patience. Whoa, 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 terribly. But when growth and learning happen at different paces for different students, and it will, some brains mature more slowly than others. Some brains don't grasp whatever the, topic or concept is, and it could take them a lot longer to get it. What if they never get it? Does that reduce their worth as a person? Because that's what students learn if they feel like they're slower than other students, And of course, flexibility. Be willing to try multiple approaches until you find one that works. Different people learn differently. And be curious and open-minded. What must it be like for them to feel like this? They look frustrated. Can you help them name their emotions? All of these things can help. And embracing the growth mindset means that you believe all students can learn. They may need support. It may be tricky to figure out what support they need, but we can all learn no matter our age. Reframe challenges as opportunities for innovation and problem solving. Literally, what would life have been like if a teacher had said, we're practicing problem solving? That is the skill that we're working on, as opposed to you want to get the perfect score or the A plus, or you want to perform well and get the right answers. And encourage the students, like, let's celebrate our differences and figure out how they're advantages, not limitations. My brain can hold 55 thoughts in it at once and then nothing. And that's a pretty brilliant skill for an entrepreneur, right? I can have a lot of things going on, and I do. because of the way my mind works. And so helping people see how they are amazing and miraculous, that that is beautiful. We can encourage students, view their differences as advantages. Amazing. And read up a little when you get a chance, when you're scrolling, or, what are the different neurodivergent conditions? How do they manifest? We're learning more every year. So a lot of the things that are seemingly common knowledge these days, psh, they weren't widely discussed even 10 years ago. So while you keep up with it, and then that can help you with strategies to rock your classroom. That's gorgeous. Try and understand, what are the unique needs? Do they have triggers? Are there coping strategies for when they are triggered? Breathing's free. Breathe in, feel the air into your body, release it out. Does it feel warmer than it felt breathing in? Just teaching them to breathe and to center themselves. Ah, man, that I would have loved to have learned as a kid. And, of course, communicating and using phrasing that shows, compassion, a lack of assumptions, right? You don't know why people are doing things. We're all coming from a different spot. And if they cannot control their behavior, all right, they can't yet. What might help? Getting centered, doing a little breathing, moving their body. And of course, I'm not sure if this is totally mindset, but if you foster a sense of belonging in the classroom and a way to celebrate these neurodivergent traits, and, why do you think that that would hold you up? Well, what does it help you with? Oh, interesting. So and so is very quick-witted. Oh, okay. That's interesting. The brain can make those connections so quickly. That's fun, and it's tough. I get it. You're working to help build positive relationships with your students and modeling how they can have relationships with others. And for students to be empowered to advocate for what they need and to support each other, holy moly, that's some good hot sauce. I love it. And going back to the breathing tip, when you are feeling stressed, talk about how you're handling it. I'm rubbing my fingers together and feeling the ridges of my fingerprints. Interesting. I'm putting my hands together and feeling how the palms of my hands feel as they slide. I'm breathing in for a count of 4. I'm exhaling for 4. I'm paying attention to my breathing. I'm telling myself that I'm having a challenge and I'm going to work it out. Don't assume anyone's going to infer. I couldn't. I could not. I had to hear the words. And I believed anything anyone told me. Because if it said, then that's what was true. And that, just as we know, is not necessarily true. And a tricky realm can also be students' feelings, especially when they maybe bottle them up until there's like an explosion. How can we show them how to safely share what their feelings are? What are the social emotional skills like impulse control, conflict resolution? What are ways that are appropriate for the ages and the aptitudes that you can share those? Because that's amazing. That's gorgeous. And if you have IEPs in the classroom, I'll say it again, like, are there some classroom strategies that align with that you can just use generally? Because that'd make it easier, right? So just consider that whatever challenges your students are giving you with their behavior, their emotions, their inability or irregular ability to self-regulate, they're not having a good time either. Nobody wants to be out of control. No one wants to feel like they're in a tsunami of frustration or whatever emotion. And being told, hey, feelings come upon you, and you get to look at it and be like, oh, interesting. I'm angry, or I'm frustrated, or I'm delighted, or whatever the feeling is. Curious. Why? Am I telling myself a story about it? Oh, and if I am, is that true? Every feeling and thought we have may not be rational or reasonable. The feelings are fine. The thoughts are fine. Unquestioned? Ooh, that is a dark, dark path. So hang in there. You've got this. Back to school is here and everybody's rocking and rolling. So I hope that you'll tune in, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll chat with you next time.